Warning, this Runcam 5 review will not use any funky homemade gimbals, 3D printed gimbals, or any multiple camera gimbals. We're going to do solo testing as you would yourself. Strap it to the quad. You're going to get to see what it looks like if you put it on your quad and flew it. So you're going to get some pretty accurate testing today. The video might not line up perfectly from camera to camera when we do some side-by-side comparison, but it's going to be way more accurate. So here we go. What's up, guys? So I was just having a little breakfast this morning from New Seasons. The hot bar is super excellent over there. We're gonna do the Runcam 5 review today, and we're gonna compare it to some of my other cameras out there. I have my favorites, and I keep hoping that one of these companies will make a camera that replaces my favorite camera out of the bunch, my more expensive favorite camera. So we'll find out by the end of the video which one my favorite's going to be for taking out. I have a trip coming up this weekend, so I'm going to take all these cameras out and film some more footage with these. But today I just wanted to do a quick field test. We're not going to do any crazy flippy dippy super crazy stuff. I will do a few rolls and things to let you see what the wide angle looks like when it's tilting on the horizon. With the Hero 7, you get a little bit of warp effect when you do a roll on your quad. That's one thing that people complain about on the Hero 7, but you can also make the lens narrower field of view, so that will help deal with some of that snake effect that we get. And also I noticed that the Runcam 5 does not have what appears to be a detachable front lens cover, which is kind of a bummer. I'm wondering if there's going to be any ND filters available for this Runcam 5. Foxeer Box 2 has it, so if you want to run ND filters, you're going to have to get, so far you're going to have to get the Foxeer Box 2. The Osmo Action has freewell filters available, and these are awesome. I usually run the ND16 filter on my GoPro and my DJI camera. Rocksteady image stabilization on here. The Box 2 has image stabilization. The Hero 7 has image stabilization, but the Runcam 5 does not have image stabilization. And as far as the apps go, the GoPro Hero 7 app is awesome. It's flawless. Every time I connect to it, update the firmware, no problem. DJI app is also flawless. The Foxeer box camera app seems to be probably the worst app out of all of these. It doesn't even look like it was made for this camera. It's very strange. They need to do a lot of work on their app for this, so hopefully the guys at Foxeer will put some more man hours into their app and make it a little bit nicer. And this is nice because it does have Wi-Fi on it, so I do prefer this app over the Runcam 5 app. It does not have Wi-Fi on here, so what you have to do is turn on your camera and you connect to the app. But it's very strange because you open up the app and it doesn't actually connect to the camera. Here's what happens. You have to open up your app, change the settings in the app like you're changing the settings on your Runcam 5. And once you change the settings, you click on scan QR code and you fire up your camera and you move your camera up and down on your phone. And no matter where I put my camera, it did not seem to want to take a snapshot of that QR code. I could not get this to work this morning, so big bummer about that. That's not very cool at all. So I think that the QR code idea is kind of nice, but at the same time, it's just something I've never seen before, and I wish it would actually have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or something on this to make it a little bit easier for you guys, because I think the QR code thing is a little bit quirky still. So hopefully a firmware update will be available for this one coming up. But I like that it does have micro USB port for charging. It charges up in under an hour, and it has one button on top, which I like a lot. It's not super complicated, and it has a cool little sliding door, which is great for your micro SD card. Use a U3 or better. Same cards in here for that one and for this one. This one has a USB-C charge port, and I don't have as many of those cables over there hanging on the wall as I do the micro USB. So I kind of prefer the micro USB because I have tons of these laying around. And the Osmo Action also has a USB-C charge port, and the Hero 7 also has a USB-C charge port. But without further ado, before we go flying, one last thing that I want to do for you guys is put them on the scale. Let me show you the weights of each one of these cameras, and then we'll strap it out to the Buzz, and we'll go outside and we'll do some flying, and I'll just show you some raw footage of each of these cameras, and you can decide for yourself which one you think looks the best for your budget. And after that, I'll let you know which one is still my reigning favorite action cam for my quad. Here we go. All right, let's go ahead and turn on the scale and let's weigh each of these cameras. You guys probably already know who's gonna win this. The Runcam 5 is super light. It's 55.4 grams. It's pretty awesome. The Box 2, a little bit heavier, 80.2. And the Osmo Action, man, this thing feels like a tank. It is super heavy. The whole exterior seems to be some kind of metal. 123.4 grams with that super huge ND filter on the front, all metal. Now the Hero 7, 111.3. Yep, I knew it felt a little bit lighter. And it is missing the door, but these stupid doors always fall off, and I have a really hard time putting those back on. So let's go head outside now and let's do some flying with each of these, and I'll show you a nice comparison. Here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and get started, you guys. Emax Buzz today with Johnny Prop's 4S 1550 battery and the Runcam strap and a piece of foam underneath the Runcam 5. Looking like a lot of jitter because I did sort of crash and bend a prop earlier, and it's not quite perfect, but this is a good real-world example of what could happen to you out in the field. You might not know that prop's bent. You're going to bring home this footage, and this is what you're going to get when you get home with not a perfect tune on a quad or possibly a bent prop. This is the Box 2. Seems to be handling the jello just a little bit better from that bad prop. It does have electronic stabilization on the Box 2. The Runcam 5 does not, and it just does not handle it at all. So that's one thing to think about. This is a situation that could happen to you. You're out filming all day and you think you've got some sick freestyle footage to bring home, and when you get home there's a lot of jello in the video because you forgot to switch out your prop. It happens to everybody. So the Box 2 is actually looking not too bad for the price of this camera. If I was to judge between the Runcam 5 and the Box 2 is winning with their extra addition of electronic stabilization. It's going to be a better value for you. Runcam 5, I think the colors look pretty good, but the sky is all blown out. Look at the Box 2 in comparison with the ND filter on the right. You can see a lot more greens. The saturation looks better, and the sky is not blown out at all. That looks usable. It actually does look pretty usable. So you're going to bring home something decent with the Box 2 as long as you don't have any issues with it crashing. Same thing with the Runcam 5. There are people that have said that they crashed their Runcam 5 and it won't restart. And this seems to be happening to a lot of these Runcam and Foxier cameras where the operating system just crashes on us, and it really sucks. I've had other ones just completely brick on me. So now we're moving to the DJI Osmo Action, and this is a $350 camera. Some of you guys, if you've been living under a rock, you probably haven't seen it, but here it is on the Emax Buzz with that chewed up prop. I see like just a very small amount of jello here. And if I can get honest and personal, I will tell you that I do prefer the Hero 7 over the Osmo Action. Still, the Hyper Smooth, in my opinion, beats Rocksteady still. DJI has a couple firmware updates to go before they really catch up to speed. Now let's compare the Action to the Runcam 5. So $350 camera versus a $99 camera. Look at the difference here. That's what you can get for $99 versus $350. So the Osmo Action app really does work great. Runcam 5 app, it's a little quirky. QR code to scan and save your settings. I feel like they should put Bluetooth on the next version, maybe the Runcam 5 Pro. Hero 7 now with Hyper Smooth. There's a person down there at the end of the field, so I'm going to take a left. And the Hero 7 with Hyper Smooth is what everybody raves about. It is around a little bit, I think it's about $20 more than the DJI Osmo. But this is clearly the winner out of all four of these cameras, or all three of them that it's going up against. Runcam 5 looking like definitely like a $99 camera. Hyper Smooth just totally killing it. Very smooth. It smooths out all the vibrations. If you have a poorly tuned quad, If you have a bent prop, if you have a lot of jitters in your quad, the Hyper Smooth just takes care of it. It's just kind of the most amazing thing. And I'm not running an ND filter on the Hero 7 today, so full screen, this is what you can expect. It handles light adjustment changes kind of odd to me. That's one thing that's a little bit quirky about the Hero 7. It's the light shift adjustment. Like right there, it gets super whited out when I change direction. It takes a second to catch up, and then closer to the ground, everything comes into a proper lighting setup. But this would be my camera of choice. Absolutely, hands down. I'll take my GoPro Hero 7 to Fiji and film off the beach. Like an overseas trip, this is the camera I would take. Because I don't want it to mess up. It's waterproof. It's a little more expensive, but it's worth the money in the end. So I would have to say that this is hands down the best bet. Put the extra money into it, you'll appreciate it. So now I hit this pole. And this is with the Runcam 5. So this is my durability test. Slowed it down for you guys. The quad's gonna go by. There it goes. One time, another time. There it goes again. There goes the quad again. There it goes again, and again, and again, and on the grass. All right, guys, what did you think about these cameras? What did you think was the best one? Obviously, the most expensive ones are the better ones with Hyper Smooth and the Rocksteady. I still prefer the GoPro Hero 7 footage, the way that one looks. Maybe it's what I'm used to the most. I'm still experimenting with my Osmo Action because there's a whole ton of things that this camera does. It is packed with features, just like anything that DJI makes. It's just loaded with stuff. They threw so much at this camera. This one happens to also be the heaviest one though, so I think they kind of missed the boat on the weight factor. They might be able to reduce the weight in this camera on the next release, but I like that it also has swappable lens filters on here if you want from Freewell. They make tons of them for the Osmo, but the Box 2 also has an ND filter on there, and this is very needed in what we do because it reduces the sky from blowing out. It helps bring the colors up and make the colors pop, and you just have a better color spectrum using an ND filter on the brighter days. It's gonna make everything way less blown out. Now the Runcam 5, to me, it needs an ND filter on there, and it's a shame that at this point you don't have a way to put one on there, so you're flying with way more jello because an ND filter will reduce the f-stop a few steps depending on which one you use, and it will slow down a lot of that jitter and shudder that you see coming from your quad. If it's poorly tuned, this thing is going to show it. So this is kind of like a flying fully manual old school camera sensor at this point. Electronic stabilization helps a lot with what we do, and as racers and freestyle guys and long range setups, you need a little bit of image stabilization to bring home something that you can use without having to put a lot of stabilization filters in the editor. We're not using that a lot anymore because these cameras have it built in. So I think that Foxeer probably did a better job taking the extra step to make sure that they had electronic stabilization on their camera. So I know you guys are going to ask me this, and if I was to choose between these two, right now my choice for this weekend's trip would have to be the Box 2 because I have the ND filter on there, I have electronic stabilization, and all of that just gives me a better image when I come back home to my editor. So this would be my choice out of these two, but if I was to give this one a star rating, I would have to give it around maybe a 3.9 out of 5. One of the lower scores that I've had on the channel recently, just mainly because of the way that the camera handles a bent prop, because it's going to happen to all you guys out there. You're going to get a bent prop, you're not going to realize it in your FPV view. You might see it, you might not, but this will show everything. So that is kind of unfortunate. It did survive that really hard hit that I had. I had 2 hard hits out in the middle of the field with this camera, so durability wise it might score a little bit higher, maybe a 4.3. It is the lightest out of the bunch, and you're definitely not going to feel this camera in the air. It's very, very lightweight. You could even put it on some of your smaller 3-inch micros, maybe even something a little smaller like a 2.5 inch. It's really, really lightweight. So that about concludes our review, and still my favorite raining camera out of all of these cameras is the GoPro Hero 7 right there with Hypersmooth, even over the Osmo Action. So I'm going to stick with my GoPro Hero 7 now. But thanks again for watching my Runcam 5 review, guys. Please do subscribe. I'm Justin Davis. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.